So the time has come. Here is the 2022 lambing roundup. So we're going to look at the highs, the lows, who had what's going to happen to those lambs, and of course the most important bit, who won the competition. A couple of our khaki hens have gone super broody, which is just as well because I've got no space in the incubator. But they're on about 25 eggs, and hopefully we might get some ducklings out of them. So first up we have Gertie. Now Gertie kick-started lambing season, but sadly she kick-started lambing season with a pair of stillborns, one ram lamb, one ewe lamb. But she is in fine health, so we have high expectations for next year. Now I have to say, I wasn't completely surprised when it came to Gertie. She wasn't ill, she was just a little bit off. There was one morning I came down to the farm, she was on the outside of the electric fence. I don't know whether maybe she got chased or shocked or something in the night. She was outside the electric fence, which she never does. And after that, she was never quite the same. I did drench her for twin lamb a couple of times, but I really don't think it was twin lamb. Her lambs were almost a full term, but for just some reason, she lost them. Our second lady to lamb was Curtains, and actually she's the first one to lamb with live lambs. So whoever guessed Curtains, you will be the winner, so find out at the end of the video. Now everything didn't go quite as planned with Curtains either, because she had twins, and this is not her twin, this is her twin over here, but she rejected the ram lamb pretty quickly. And so she spent 3 days on a head halter tied up in her pen, trying to get her to accept that lamb, but she wouldn't. I did talk to her former owner. She's only ever had singles before, so I wonder whether once she cleaned them all up, she just didn't want two of them. So that's why she has a lovely little ewe lamb and Macduff. And so Macduff is our first rejected lamb of this year. He's a beautiful little thing. We have turned him into a wether, just so we don't have to have complications with a ram later in the year. But he may well stay here on the farm. Number 3 to give birth was River. Now River, who's hiding under the trampoline, she had twins in the very early hours of the morning. Twin girls. This is one of them, who I think is the sweetest little thing. She's got a lot of white on her face. Hello. She was an excellent mum. She cleaned them all up. She looked after them. She's been an excellent mum from then on. But throughout her lambing, her sister Fraggle was being a right pain. And guess what? That's because number 4 to give birth was Fraggle. So Fraggle gave birth only an hour after River. That's quite cute because they are sisters. Fraggle had a single, a little girl, and again, really stonking little lamb. I'm trying to look around for her. Where is her lamb? Her lamb will be over there with this little gaggle of lammies. But she has been a really good mum. There she is. Very happy with how things went. Number 5 to give birth was Connie. So Connie is our only sheep that previously lambed here. So last year she had twins, a girl and a boy, and we still have Ophelia here on site. And she had, this year, Connie had a little boy. So this is Connie's little boy. He's a beautiful Norfolk Horn specimen. Off he goes to try and find his mum, although she's in the wrong direction. He's just gone over there. Your mum's over here. She obviously doesn't really care. This is his mum here. But again, doing really well, no worries at all. Happy mum, happy lamb. Now at this point in proceedings, I should say that Tracy looks like she's about 5 sheep. She's huge, she still hasn't popped. So I'm really expecting that number 6 is going to be her. But no, number 6 was Coco. So here is our lovely Coco. She is a shearling, so this was her first ever lamb. Did it completely on her own before I even got to the lambing barn, and she had a lovely little ram lamb, which you can just see here on the left. He is the sweetest little thing, aren't you? Yeah, we're talking about you. Very, very cute. You are very sweet. Norfolk horns come out with little horns already in place, and then they grow super quickly. But really happy with how he's coming along. He was very small when he was born, but as you can see, he's put on quite a lot of growth, and he looks like a nice sturdy lamb now. Now at this point in proceedings, I'm getting really worried about Tracy. If you don't know her backstory, she is a Bleu de Maine and she is a rescue sheep, and she was not supposed to get pregnant because she is never lambed without intervention. So when she came here, my plan was, right, she's just going to relax, chill, and never be bred, so we don't have to deal with that problem. But last autumn, when I was worried about the rams, the tups, getting out of their pen and getting into the wrong lot of ewes, I wasn't thinking about Tracy breaking in to the rams. And that is exactly what she did. So number 7 to lamb this year was Tracy. Now I needn't have worried about Tracy lambing this year, because despite her having intervention on every previous lambing, she's lambed 4 times before. This year she did it all by herself. However, once she had cleaned her lambs up, she decided she didn't want them anymore. I personally think it's her way of saying, this year I proved that I could give birth on my own, but I don't want the responsibility of parenthood, so you can do it. And for that reason, we've ended up with Dora and Dolores, who are our little Bleu de Maine cross Jacobs, who are also our rejected lambs and have been bottle fed alongside the lovely Macduff. And then finally, number 8 to lamb was our lovely Cotton. This here in the middle of the screen is our lovely Cotton, and she probably is my best, or one of my best, Norfolk horn ewes. She hasn't got a bare belly like Coco, but she's the best in kind of colour and formation. And as you saw from a couple of videos ago, she gave birth, she rounded off the season with a fantastic little Norfolk horn ewe lamb. I left them in the field because there was no reason not to, but very sadly, 3 days later, the little ewe lamb had been sat on during the night by I don't know exactly by which sheep or collection of sheep, but they had sat on her and squashed her, and she had very sadly passed away. Now highs and lows and rejections and deaths and stuck babies are all part of lambing, but we have ended up with very nice collection of 9 lambs. Now we have 5 Jacob lambs, one of which is Macduff, and he is probably going to stay here on the farm as a pet wether. It depends how he grows up, because I do find that wether lambs, especially bottle reared wether lambs, can become a little bit bolshy. They're not scared of people, and so they can become a bit too much. So he needs to behave, otherwise he will go off for meat. But at the moment, we plan to keep him. The other 4 ewe lambs we will grow up and sell on. Now they are pedigree, but they're not registerable because of the parents haven't gone through the registration pedigree system. So we will sell them probably as pet sheep, or people that just want some lovely Jacob sheep on their farm but aren't interested in the pedigree side of things. Coco's little boy, meanwhile, is a lovely little tup. So we are going to keep him intact, we're going to grow him up, and he's unrelated to some of our other sheep. So I'm hoping that maybe in the future we can use him on our farm to tup with some others, but it does depend how he grows up. Connie's ram lamb, again, lovely little boy, but he had 4 teats. And 4 teats isn't really that desirable, especially when you're breeding up a tup. So he has been castrated, so he's a wether, and he is going to go as a meat lamb, probably just to us, towards the end of the year. Tracy's lambs, meanwhile, are super cute and super friendly, but they are crosses, so you wouldn't want to breed from them. And so the only thing they're really going to be good for is if somebody wants a few sheep to graze their lawn or their horse pasture. If Tracy had boys, they definitely would have gone for a meat box. But I think Dora and Dolores are quite cute, so they hopefully will go as some pet sheep to somebody. Won't you? Yes. And so for the exciting bit, the competition. So, Curtains lambed first with live lambs, and so the winner for that is Fiona. The total number of live lambs before we lost our lamb, but she was born alive, was 10. And that means Jackie Cousins, you won the number of lambs. And then the first lamb was born just after 6:30. So the closest person to that was Big C. So congrats. So Fiona, Jackie Cousins and Big C, you are the winners. So if you just look in the description below, there is my email, drop me a mail and I will sort out sending you the t-shirt prizes. So I'm pretty thrilled with how our first proper year lambing went. Obviously last year we did lamb, but we only lambed one sheep. She had twins. So this year we raised the number of ewes and I'm really happy. We ended up with 9 fantastic lambs, a variety of pet lambs, a nice little tup and some meat lambs for us as well. So it's all done really, really well. Of course, next year we have an extra 4 Norfolk horns and you know what I'm like, I may end up with more. So there'll be even more lambs, but for this 2022 lambing season, we are done. Following on from our rewilding video the other day, I came down to sort out the boys. The boys are in prison at the moment because they keep going through the hedgerows onto fields they're not supposed to be. So I need to give them a timeout. And they had started to jump over this higgledy-piggledy fence. And I mean, the aim of this fence, obviously it's awful. The stock fence is so low that the rams just jump straight over. What I would love to do is to get all of these runners off blackthorn to allow those runners to come down this fence and cut them back into a little blackthorn hedge along here. And you can see it's already started. But I actually came down here to get another piece of tin to put up here because they were jumping over. And I came across to this side and I was going to use this piece of tin, but I have no idea what type of birds those are. I wouldn't think they are blue tit or anything like that because they tend to make nests in boxes and trees, and I don't think they're too big to be a wren. So it could be a robin, could be maybe a white throat, something like that. I'm not fiddling with the nest, obviously. What I am going to do is just hang out here for a little bit and see if I can see a parent going in. Now, actually, most parents will probably come in through the undergrowth, so I may well not see anything at all. So they're fairly big chicks, so I would think they need feeding rather regularly. So I'm going to hang out and watch for a bit while the boys keep coming to say hello. Well, they're dunnocks, or as my mum likes to say, an SBJ, small brown job, because they're just small little brown birds, but very, very cute to find that nest.